The biggest revolution in football history is about to unfold, and it's not what anyone expected. FIFA's new Club World Cup is set to completely transform how we think about global football competition.
You know what fascinates me most about this massive change? The sheer scale of what we're looking at? 32 teams from every continent competing in a month-long tournament.
Well, let's put this in perspective. We're talking about a competition that could generate more revenue than the Champions League. The prize money alone is expected to reach hundreds of millions of dollars, which could fundamentally reshape club football's economic landscape.
So what makes this format so different from what we've seen before?
Here's the game-changing part. Instead of the quick knockout tournament we're used to, we're getting four groups of 8 teams, with the top two advancing. That means teams from places like Egypt's Al Ahly or Brazil's Flamengo get multiple chances to prove themselves against European giants.
The timing of this is really interesting too. Launching in 2025 in the United States, just before they co-host the World Cup in 2026.
And you know what's fascinating about the location choice? The United States has the infrastructure to handle this massive event. We're talking about state-of-the-art stadiums that regularly host NFL games, with capacities ranging from 60,000 to over 100,000 spectators.
The commercial implications must be enormous when you consider the global broadcast potential.
Oh, absolutely. Early projections suggest broadcast rights could exceed $2 billion for the tournament. But here's what really gets me excited. This tournament could finally break down the notion that European football is the only football that matters.
Hmm, that's an interesting point about challenging the European dominance. How do you see this playing out for clubs from other continents?
Well, look at what happened with Saudi Pro League recently. They've shown that with proper investment and exposure, you can attract top talent to any region. Now imagine what this tournament could do for clubs in South America, Africa, and Asia.
The talent development aspect is really compelling. This could create new pathways for players who might have been overlooked before.
Exactly right. And here's a stat that'll blow your mind. Currently, about 75% of professional footballers worldwide never get the chance to compete against top European clubs. This tournament changes that completely.
You know what else this reminds me of? The way the Champions League transformed European football in the 1990s.
That's exactly the parallel I was thinking about. When the Champions League expanded in 1992, people thought it was too ambitious. Now it generates over 3.5 billion euros annually. This new Club World Cup could have an even bigger impact globally.
The potential for creating new rivalries and storylines across continents is pretty incredible too.
Let me tell you why that matters. Football thrives on narratives. Imagine the stories when a team like Wydad Casablanca from Morocco faces Manchester City, or when Al Hilal takes on Real Madrid with actual stakes on the line.
The technical aspects of these cross-continental matches would be fascinating to watch. Different playing styles, different tactical approaches.
And here's something people aren't talking about enough. The tournament's 4-year cycle. It makes each edition special, like the World Cup, rather than just another annual competition that might lose its shine.
The environmental impact of such a massive tournament must be considerable, though. How are they planning to address that?
Well, FIFA has actually announced a comprehensive sustainability plan. They're requiring host venues to meet specific environmental standards, use renewable energy where possible, and implement waste reduction programs. It's part of their larger 2030 environmental commitment.
That's really encouraging to hear about the sustainability measures being put in place.
You know what else is fascinating? The potential impact on youth development. Clubs that never had the resources might now invest in their academies, knowing they have a genuine shot at competing on the global stage.
The financial implications for smaller clubs could be transformative.
Let me break down those numbers. Even teams that only make it to the group stage could earn upwards of $20 million. That's more than the annual budget of many clubs outside Europe's top 5 leagues.
The timing of matches across different time zones will be interesting to manage.
Well, FIFA's already thought about that. They're planning to schedule matches to maximize viewership across all major markets. We're talking about potential viewership numbers that could surpass 2 billion people globally.
The cultural exchange aspect of this tournament could be really significant too.
And that's what makes this so much more than just football. It's about bringing together different football cultures, different fan experiences, different ways of understanding and celebrating the game.
Looking ahead, what do you think will be the biggest challenge for this new format?
The key challenge will be balancing the existing football calendar. Teams are already playing 50 to 60 games a season, and now we're adding potentially 7 more high-intensity matches every 4 years. But you know what? If it means creating a truly global club competition, I think it's worth figuring out.
Well, this has been quite the deep dive into what could be a revolutionary moment in football history.
Indeed, it has. And here's my final thought. In 10 years, we might look back at this as the moment when football truly became the world's game, not just in terms of who watches it, but in terms of who can compete at the highest level. That's something worth watching unfold.